Today we're going to work on troubleshooting your HL7 TCP IP listener. Now, while we're going to be working specifically with our core HL7 listener, a lot of the things we'll be looking at will work with anyone's HL7 listener. We're looking mostly the two most common issues that we work with people on. The first one is your trading partner. Your trading partner claims that they can't connect to the listener. Very common issue. What you have to do first is verify that your listener is working. Let's look at our core HL7 listener software and see what we can do. So here's my core HL7 listener, and we're going to be working with this profile here, Dunedin Hospital. I did a little cheating. I can tell right now that there's a problem because this folder is in red. It means that the data folder is no good. But it is running, so if I try to edit this, it'll tell me it's running. If I bring up my ad hoc sender, this is a piece of free software that you can download from our website here. Just go to transworldscribe.com, go to downloads, and scroll down until you see free software. And there's the ad hoc sender. Just download it, it's free. So I've set this to say connect to listener on this computer on port 26,500. All I have to do is say test the connection to the listener. I'm going to do this, say yes, and it's going to fail. Nope. So I know from here that my listener is not listening. So how do I work with it? Well, pretending that I don't know that the folder is bad, what I have to do is stop this service so I can work with it. Now, a problem here is, as you can see, I've got 12 profiles, 11 of them are running in one service instance. So what I have to do is I need to stop this one so I can get that profile out. So now I'm going to go fix that folder. I had just renamed it so that it would be bad and fail. And voila, that's fixed. So now I can edit this profile. I can just double click on it. I can edit this profile, look at the settings in it. If this folder was bad, it wouldn't let me make a change. But what I want to do, when I just stopped that service, I stopped all of my interfaces. They're running. I need to get them going again, so what I want to do is get this one out. So I'll take it and I'll put it in a private service. Now I can come back here and go ahead and start the services. Now my 10 others are back up and running, and I can work just with Dunedin Hospital. So first thing I want to do to test it always is run it locally. Start it. Does it give you any errors? Yes or no? That seems to be working fine. Now if I test my connection, it should say that it is working. Now, all that I know here is that it's working on this computer. I don't know if it's working, if anybody remote outside of this computer can connect to it, but I know that it is listening on this computer. If it's possible, I could have sent HL7 messages to it. So let's go to the next part. Said, okay, the listener is working. As a matter of fact, what I can do with this, if I wanted to keep it running in service 1, I could edit this and put it back in service number 1. I could assign it to any other service, or I could leave it in a private service while we play with it. So I'll do that. I'm going to leave it in a private service. I'm going to go ahead and install that private service and start them. So now it's running. I should be able to connect to it still. Okay, so now we know that it works when running as a service. So what is the next step? If it's listening on the local computer, but your trading partner still can't connect to it from their remote server, that is typically a network error. It has nothing to do with us. It's going to be a firewall is blocking it. Might be your firewall, might be their firewall. And if they're connecting through a VPN, you got to verify that the VPN is working correctly and not blocking traffic or dropping connections. Then you have the question, does it work when you're running locally but fail when you're running as a service? If that's the case, it's typically going to be a user rights issue. You see, when I am running locally, I'm going to come and stop that private service for Dunedin. When I'm running locally means running it like this in a window. It's running as me, as the user that I am logged into Windows as. So if this works here, but it doesn't work when I run it as a service, that's going to mean that there's some difference between me running as a user and the service. If I look at the report, it'll tell me, yes, it's installed. Yes, it's running, but it's only the start mode. It'll also tell me the logon is local system. What it means is that I have rights that local system does not. Typically, this would be something like if you're trying to use a network share or a mapped drive or network attached storage as the data folder. Well, I'm logged in as me. I have access to that. Local system does not. So you need to configure the Windows service to run as a domain user. That you bring up the services, go to whatever service is running your profile, and then go to the logon, tell it to run as a specific domain user. The problem with doing that is you have to manage the passwords. If the password is expired or is changed by a new network administrator, then all of a sudden everything goes to custard. So, working like this. I've identified this, we're working it out, it works both ways. Now we have troubleshooting. We have worked out this connection error. It's going to be one of these things. I'm going to go over one other thing on this, and that is the way that this particular machine was set up. Let's come over here and stop our services. So I've got everything stopped. I had Dunedin Hospital when we came in was running in service instance 1. Oh, I got to go remove that private service. Okay, so I'm going to set it back to the way it was when we started. Now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this setup. We have customers that have dozens or hundreds. I have even worked with 2 of our customers that have over 1,000 listeners running on the same server. There's nothing wrong with putting them all in the same service instance except what we just ran into. We have an issue with one client, and we need to work with that one client. In order to actually work with them, we have to get them out and isolate them. We have to stop the service which stops everybody. Now, there's lots of ways to get around this. Like we did, we just stopped the service, edited the profile, threw it into a private service, and then restarted our main instance. Now, starting with version 3 of the Core Listener, there's a very cool thing you can do. We give you up to 20 primary services. You can go to the Tools menu and say Distribute the Primary Service Profiles. What this will do is take all of your profiles that are not in a private service and evenly distribute them across your 20 available service instances. So we say yes, and it's done. So now Dunedin Hospital runs in service instance 8. All I have to do is go to the Windows Service Status. It'll show me there's a bunch of stuff that needs attention. All I have to do is click the Install Services button, and it has fixed everything. So now I can start my services again. And Dunedin Hospital, which is running in number 8, should be able to connect as soon as it gets going. There it is. And it connects. If you have further problems and you don't know if it's a VPN issue, you can take this software, like I said, it's free, and put it on a different computer and try to connect to your listener the same way that your client is connecting. If they're connecting through a VPN, go to another computer, try to connect through the same VPN to this box and test your connection. You can do all of this before you try to, load up some network tracking software, bit tracking or any of the commercially available network monitoring software to actually look at the data coming in through the ports. Let's move on to the next common problem, and that's that they're sending you messages, but they're not receiving acknowledgments. Well, that's an easy one to do. Let's I have 100 messages loaded up. I'm going to go ahead and send them. So here it is. My trading partner is saying they're not receiving HL7 acknowledgments. Well, the first thing you want to do is verify that. First, we'll look here. Does the listener think that it's sending acknowledgments? The send acknowledgement setting is set to automatic, which means it looks at the HL7 message as it comes in. It looks at the send acknowledgement flag, and if it's never NE, it will send an acknowledgement. The core listener will send an acknowledgement. But one of the ways you can tell is go into the data folder, go into the traffic, and look at the traffic log. This last column will tell you the type of acknowledgement that the core listener sent back on each message. Now, AA is just a positive acknowledgement. So, according to this, the listener thinks that it's sending back an acknowledgement. So why aren't they actually registering it? If you see none in the acknowledgement instead of AA, you can change your listener profile. I'm going to edit it. First, I'll go and stop instance 8. See, now when I stop instance 8, there's only one profile. It's just Dunedin Hospital. If I had 100 listeners running and I had them evenly distributed, it would only have 5 listeners stopped. So I can edit this, and maybe I could change this to always. That way it ignores the setting in the MSH segment and will always return an acknowledgement. What else? If they still say that they're not getting the acknowledgments back, you want to then ask them how long will they wait for the ACK to be returned. This is a setting that is in every HL7 sender. Every sender. Even our little free one. How long to wait for the HL7 acknowledgement. In other words, I send a message, how long do I wait for the acknowledgement to come back before I say this message was unacknowledged, which will usually trigger a resend. Well, that's easy. Ask them. The core listener is going to be returning an acknowledgement usually within 10 to 30 milliseconds of the time that it gets the message. And that's usually not even a timeout that they allowed. The minimum will wait is 100 milliseconds. That's plenty. But it depends on the network speed, the VPN speed, etc. What else? There's not too much else to it. An HL7 listener is really a simple piece of software. The only other issue that might be is if you're not getting messages, they say they're connecting, they say they're sending, they're not getting acknowledgments back. One thing would be, is there some other program listening on this port? We're listening on port 26,500. Now, this port is not, if it's in use by some other program, these two applications are going to fight over it. For instance, if I put 1433 in here, that's the port that Microsoft SQL Server uses. If you're running SQL Server on a computer, SQL Server is basically a big TCP/IP listener. It listens on port 1433. If I put this in, well, the core listener is going to try to listen on port 1433. SQL Server is going to try to listen on port 1433. One of them is going to win and one of them is going to fail. Now, my money is on Microsoft SQL Server running in Microsoft Windows. I'm going to bet that it's going to win, but I could be wrong. But that's our video for today on troubleshooting. Contact us if you have any questions. Consider liking this content and subscribing. If you have any questions at all, put it in the comments and ask. We'll get back to you. Thanks.